Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the next episode of With Conviction, a story of hope, horror, and history. My name is Rain, my pronouns are she, her, and I am your GM for this adventure. With me are my determined heroes for this campaign. Why don't you all introduce yourselves?
Hi there, I'm Alice. I play Desdemona Hartwood. Both of us use she and they pronouns. Desdemona is a Roseheart guardian, and she's a sort of gothy, punky, magical girl, a heart of pink, and maybe a looming career in therapy based on how last episode went.
Hi, I'm Skylin. My pronouns are they and them, and I play Chris Whitlock, whose pronouns are she or any. Chris is our firebrand artillery, who is maybe finally understanding what it means to act like a team.
And I am Rob. My pronouns are he, him, and I play Eliza, whose pronouns are she, her. And Eliza has just spent an entire night very tightly clutching a big plushy shark.
Indeed, because you all had some very interesting conversations last time, trying to align your expectations and your goals and get on the same page. And in the process, you did find out that Hazel had dropped by the volleyball house that night, and Jesse had expressed some concern about your safety, but was willing to let you go ahead with this because nobody else can. And so the night passed, and we come to the next morning. The day is yours as you go through your morning routines, and you are ready to take on the day. What would you like to do?
So, first thing, we didn't get to talk about it last episode because we were too busy having feelings or whatever. But when Des had that scene with her dad, obviously cleared stress and conviction. So she
And you
dropped.
did hit the threshold to get that experience.
That's right. I very much hit that threshold. I was at 4 stress, 4 conviction, I think.
Oof, yeah.
Um,
So, what did you write down on your sheet?
so Rain already knows this, but I had a conversation with Rain and took a 4th experience, which bumped my stress cap up to 7. And I spent it creating a new skill called empathy. And with Rain's permission, I took a -1 to lying so that I can add another +1 to empathy. So the sum total of my level up or experience is that I have a +2 to empathy and a -1 to lying, which is, I feel, on point.
I
Okay.
love this so much.
I'm so excited for you to use that. It's going to be
I'm
great.
so excited for Rain to ask for a lying roll.
Relatedly, Chris has 1 XP that's banked.
Eliza has 1 experience banked. She's also currently hovering at 4 darkness and 6 stress.
Oh, yeah.
So she needs to find her mortal tie.
Which is what we're about to do, because Chris is calling a team huddle. Now, this team huddle does not look like the typical volleyball huddle, even though Chris desperately wants it to. It does look like everybody piling into Eliza's car, and Chris saying, "All right, drive us to 3rd Winchester Battlefield Park, and we'll talk along the way."
All right. And wait, why are we going back here?
Because that's the edge of the gray.
Oh. All right.
So, Chris is going to fill in the team here. When I was in the gray, there were some creatures. There was something that looked like it was mowing a lawn or trying to mow a lawn. there was something that looked more like an actual monster. We did not fight either of them. And the maybe most important thing was that there were some splotches of like marble and gold that seemed concentrated in an area. And I think my gut says that's important somehow. I don't know if that's where Hazel is, or Faith is, or both. But that seemed to be where the pollution was strongest.
Did it feel like it had the sort of tile thing going on the other one did?
No, it was like the city.
Don't like that.
Just
No.
weird.
All right. Also, when we get to the park, I want to try something.
What do you want to try, Eliza? We gotta talk more.
Still got that sword in the back.
The rider's sword?
She nods.
What are you thinking?
That I might still get to see her again.
Oh,
All right. And I think we pull up at the parking lot at the edge of the park.
You get to the parking lot just across from the visitor center. And it's a little bit of a hike out to the gully, but not too bad. And it's the same as you've seen it before, with one big exception. The sword in your hand, Eliza. You've grown accustomed to it reacting to the proximity to the gray. It sometimes shakes, sometimes it'll rattle in its sheath, and sometimes there's this almost electric tension about it. There's none of that this time. It is unmoving.
Eliza still tries the motion she used to cut the gray open.
Nothing happens. It's just a swish through air.
Without saying anything, she just walks back to her car, puts it in the back, covers it with the blanket.
Chris looks at Des with worry on her face and a question.
She is missing Tilly pretty bad. I don't think there's much to do other than be there for her.
Okay. Chris hops out of the car, and before Eliza can hop back in, she crushes Eliza with a hug.
Okay. Ow.
Chris keeps squeezing.
Or
And Chris lets go so Eliza can breathe.
So, Eliza does her little gesture that she uses to conjure the sword, her magical sword, and once again, nothing happens. I still can't. She does the fireball hand gesture a few times in a row, visibly getting frustrated. Nothing happens. I'm still not working.
Chris steps back and sort of tilts her head. Have you tried doing that with ice?
She does the hand gesture, and there's this tiny little puff of, like, frost in her hand, and a few drops of condensation appear on her hand, and that's it. And she just shakes her head. So I think I'm out of the fight for this time. So I guess we need to find me a chair?
Chris laughs a little bit, but we can't. This gray isn't the same, Eliza. I don't know if we're gonna have signal here.
And for some reason, we don't have our drones.
Chris purses her lips.
Alright. Well,
Anyway, Eliza, even if you're not in a shape to fight, we need you. You know more about this stuff than Des or I, and if nothing else, like, sit the fight out, sure, but I need your eyes, Eliza. I need your
okay.
brain.
Yeah. I'm gonna see if we can find some sort of. And as the group is walking, Eliza trails off as the thing she was just describing suddenly falls into her vision. Because they're walking past the river where that very first fight here happened. And suddenly Eliza just runs off the path and into the bushes.
Eliza!
Be right back!
No! Chris runs after Eliza. Des!
She doesn't have to run very far because she grabs what she saw. And Rain, feel free to veto this, but Eliza emerges from the bushes with a sort of awkward grin on her face and a length of pipe in her hand.
Oh my god.
I love this. Eliza, what are you doing?
She gives the pipe a little twirl. Says, well, if somebody has to go in without any powers.
You're doing this on purpose.
I'll be real, I had no idea this was here until I saw it.
Chris's face darkens. And then she shakes it off. Okay. Fine.
Alright.
Let's go and walk and talk.
So, what's the basic plan here? We're gonna go into the gray, explore, grab and bail out with Faith?
That's the most of it, yeah. I think one of us, and she looks at Eliza, should try to map this out so we know exactly how big it is
On it.
and where things are.
Well, oh, I know what to do. Soon as you transform, Des, you just fly up with my phone and take some pictures from above.
I mean,
Chris is nodding.
oh yeah. Oh yeah, I guess I'm the only one who can fly right now. Odd feeling. Weird sentence to say. But
It really is such bullshit.
Chris glowers.
Okay.
So are you continuing to walk and talk?
Yeah, there's a little bit more that Chris has in her mind.
Oh, okay.
Photos from the sky are good. And I think the best thing we can do is try to find and follow those marble areas that I mentioned. They seem to get more concentrated, and I think if we follow that, we'll find something.
I'm willing to bet you it's in the center. And I'm willing to bet it's a circle.
Yeah. Rain, when Chris drove in and out of the gray, it's a big circle, so it might appear flat at the edges. But was there at all a noticeable curve from Chris's vantage point when she was exploring to the edge of this gray?
No, I don't think so.
That's fair. Yeah, when you're that close, it's hard to tell if there's any curvature.
Okay, so we're gonna go to the gray now, I think. Do we need...
We're almost in the gray at this point.
We're in it. We're in
Almost.
it.
I've been expecting Rain to say that we accidentally walked over the border without noticing.
That would be
Yeah,
fun.
about that.
Yeah.
As you are continuing to have this conversation, you look around and you realize you don't recognize the field you're in. You've been so focused on the conversation that you seem to have lost track of where you were. But the sky is that strange, light overcast hue.
Hey, we found it again. Now's the time to get those pictures.
Time to put on your war paint.
Is that a thing? Like, I know I put on, and Chris like takes 2 fingers and wipes them under her eyes. Like the black stuff for sun reflection for softball.
Is
But
that what that's for?
yeah,
Next time we're on a road trip or something, I'm gonna play you so many albums. Anyway,
Chris steps out and transforms.
So does Des.
All right, go ahead and roll transform for both of you.
9 on the dice.
That is a 6 on the dice.
Oof.
All right. Des is hesitating. And Chris, you get to shift as you choose.
Alrighty. Alright, Des. Are you good to fly and get some pictures for us?
Yep. And
Eliza hands her phone over.
thank you. Thank you. I realized afterwards, didn't think about it. And so she takes off and tries to snap a few photos and drops back down to show them to the group.
Hey, GM, how big is this gray?
Rob,
Mhm.
where was Eliza's apartment?
The only thing we ever said about Eliza's apartment was it's on the far side of town from Dez's place.
Okay. It's quite large. You can see it stretches across the city, almost cutting it in half. It's interesting because from the picture's point of view, it looks like the city you know, but there's more of it. There's spots have been added to it, and you can only assume that this is the place that the gray has cut out. You can see a slice that reaches out in your direction toward the battlefield. You can see other areas reaching out like arms or spears, more like, that all seem to originate from an area on the far side of town.
Is there one such arm that points toward the volleyball house?
No.
Okay.
The other thing you notice is that it's hard to tell, but if you zoom in on some of the houses further away from the camera and closer toward this center point, that the gold seems to become more dense in those areas.
I think we move into the center of this and do so carefully.
Eliza just says, thousands of people.
Yeah. Even if she didn't mean it, she's got a lot to atone for, huh?
Eliza just hefts that pipe.
We'll make sure some atoning gets done. And she kind of raises an eyebrow at Eliza. But first things first, let's get Faith.
Gaily forward, then.
Always.
And Chris takes the lead. At some point, she mentions to Des, "Hey, I'm feeling pretty darn good. Physically, anyway. If we run into stuff, please cover Eliza. I'll be okay.
Sounds great.
And I'll let you know if that changes."
Sounds good. Thanks for telling me.
Yeah. Alright. And Chris is gonna follow the gold.
Eliza gets an idea.
Mm.
It's not a golden brick road, is it?
I don't think so.
No, but thank you for laughing.
All of the roads that you run into do not seem to be paved per se in gold or marble, no. It's just asphalt.
Eliza actually pauses and says, hey, I've got an idea.
What you got?
She turns her phone so the other two can see, and she calls Faith.
There is no signal.
Right. She just says, they didn't go for a peer-to-peer network architecture.
Uh, okay.
All right, that's...
Chris
How
does
does
not
that-
know what that means and is turning around and leading the group again.
Yep.
So, as you move forward, the fields fade into suburbs, and you begin to see spots of gold smeared along the sides of buildings.
Eliza taps one of the spots of gold with her pipe.
It clangs in a metallic sound. It doesn't look so much like this has been painted over the surface as much as the surface has been almost transmuted. And you see some of these spots on the sides of the buildings that are pointing in the direction you're going are just round or ovular spots. Others that are parallel to the route you're traveling look like they've been smeared along the sides of buildings or along the ground or other objects. Anything you can see that is facing away from that seems untouched.
What happened?
It's like the pattern from an explosion.
Well, we keep going.
Indeed. Tell me, what's your marching order as you pass through this landscape?
I know this one. I roll stealth, GM.
My thought is Des in front, Eliza in the middle, and Chris brings up the rear.
No, Chris is leading.
Oh, right.
So I think Des might be in the back to
Yeah.
cover
Okay.
Eliza.
Makes
Right,
sense to me.
yes. Eliza is kind of uncomfortable at being the one who needs protection, but not dealing with that right now.
I understand, for what it's worth.
You move forward in this order.
Chris is scanning things very carefully. I think she's taken the same sort of approach that she did with the soldiers in the Rider's Grey, of being watchful and careful.
Eliza is recording this whole thing on video.
All right. Roll inspect.
All of us?
Chris,
Well,
as
Just
she's
Chris.
the one.
Does anybody else have a
taking-
+1 to the skill?
Nope.
No, I haven't.
Oh God, that is snake eyes.
Ooh.
Ooh,
Oh, this is a good time to get rid of it, I guess.
it's hard to pick things out. This is a strange landscape. It feels so familiar, and yet at the same time, it's been changed. Marble and gold, and empty buildings, and silent streets. You can see a place where a car was pulled over in a hurry and the door still hangs open. You can see where smoke still rises from a chimney, and yet you still see no people, no monsters. It's quiet.
Chris's wings shudder from their folded position. It's because there was a shiver that went down her spine. She knows that a silent forest means danger. And that instinct is kicking in here. The next step she takes, she reaches down into the earth. And instead of any sort of ball-shaped object, volleyball, softball, or otherwise, what she pulls out of the earth is a stone softball bat. She kind of blinks at it and then rests it comfortably on her shoulders. Her arms sort of hooked over either end in a resting position, but one that she can get out of easily to use it if need be.
Indeed. How are Eliza and Des responding to this?
I think Eliza actually, after this sense of danger, stops recording video and pockets her phone because she wants her hands not to be busy.
I think Des is like, Chris, you okay?
It's too quiet. If we were in a forest, this would mean bad things. When everything's silent, everybody's hiding.
Eliza turns and looks behind the group.
Roll a spot check.
Uh-oh. This is a flat roll. That's a 6.
Oh no.
Uh,
You don't see anything. As far as you can tell, doesn't look like there's anything following you.
Des, I don't like this, but there's nothing else we can do. We have to just
Yeah.
keep moving.
I don't like this either.
let's find that center.
Yeah.
If I grab Eliza, can you mostly keep up on the ground?
Maybe. I should be able to. I'm fast.
I believe it.
Chris smiles.
All right, Eliza, you up for some unpowered flight?
That's Oh, I finally get to see what Faith feels.
Des hooks her arms under Eliza's. And,
Eliza assumes the position.
All right, well, you said it, so you got to tell me what that looks like.
Well, I think it's basically the same thing that she does with Faith when she takes Faith flying. Like you said, Dez's arms under Eliza's shoulders, and Eliza's got the pipe like clutched horizontally in front of her, just because that'll keep it out of the way of anything.
Makes
And
sense.
yeah, she would like to have that harness that Faith uses, but we didn't bring that with us.
Well, yeah, we didn't really think that far ahead. Okay. Des steadily gets her footing as she steps into the air, and pretty quickly they're flying just a little bit above the ground, just in case Des isn't able to hold on to Eliza quite as tightly as she'd like to.
I was going to ask, Des, how's your grip strength?
Great question.
Des can roll endure for this. Also, this is
Ooh.
a very different take on giving Eliza a boost.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, normally Eliza doesn't need this kind of boost.
Ooh.
I can roll for it if you want.
Absolutely.
Uh-oh.
Is endure applicable here?
I think it is.
Alrighty. Then with endure, that is an 11.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Oh, you're fine. You've done plenty of heavy lifting work with your dad. You're
Well, that's
fine.
the point, actually.
Eliza is lighter than the average cabinet.
Why is
Fun
that
fact.
not what I expected out of the end of that sentence?
Like a loading screen tip.
Oh yeah.
You load
like a-
between zones, and you see Eliza is lighter than your average cabinet.
It's just a rotatable 3D model of a cabinet on a black background.
Oh my god. Eliza's sitting on top with a little bit of fire, burning the wood ever so slightly.
Well, that's cute.
That is cute.
Yeah.
And as we know, Skyrim loading screens are not cute.
Especially not in 2024. Anyway, so how high are you flying? Now that you know that you've got a grip.
I think that's something to ask with Eliza too. It's like how high up do we want to go? Because it would also mean leaving Chris behind if we go up too high.
If you go too high, I won't be able to watch and run. That slows me down.
Yeah, I think for now I'm still going to keep like pretty close to the ground. Not so close that Eliza's feet are like dragging along the ground or anything.
I'm thinking like above house height, but that's it.
Oh, I was thinking on the order of like 20-25.
Somewhere around there.
Yeah, somewhere around there. I don't
So
think it
around
has to
the
be too high.
rooftops.
Yeah, I think so.
So Chris is doing her best to run and keep up.
Eliza, you spot something moving on one of the rooftops.
Like that. What is it?
You get a flash of white as it ducks over the peak of the roof in just a moment.
Eliza reaches up and pats Des and then points to that roof.
Well, if I look over there, can I see it?
Well, not anymore, no. You might have seen something moving out of the corner of your eye.
Okay, then I think I drop lower. Hey, Chris, I think we saw something. Do you want to keep going or do you want to investigate?
Eliza, what do you think will get us closer to Faith?
Keep going.
Then keep going it is.
Okie dokie.
She just gives a nervous glance at that roof before turning back forward.
You continue forward. And as you proceed, there's another flash of white as whatever it was leaps out from behind the roof and soars through the air to slash at Des and Eliza.
No.
There are two zones in this fight. There is in the sky, there's on the ground. You begin to see more movement around you. Who's going first?
I think it should be Chris,
Why?
because Chris can hammer this thing before it gets us.
Okay. Which zone is the monster in at the moment?
It is in the sky.
Okay. Chris is going to take a shot at it then. The softball bat, in a fluid motion, comes off her shoulders and into her hands. And as she does this, she takes a batter's stance. Her foot hits the ground and the stone shoots up from it and meets her swing with a terrible crack. Her hips rotate and open up, shoulders and arms follow through, and that ball flies like a gunshot. She is going to fight that monster. Yeah, and I can't put read into it because I'm running darkness. That is a 5 on the dice plus 2 is 7.
Alright, that hits. How much damage?
2 stress.
Alright, cool.
Also, I'd like to use Reify to know what its stress and conviction are, please.
Its current stress is 4 after you strike it. Its conviction
Whoa.
is 3.
Thank you.
It takes that hit, and you see it sort of fold like some horrible geometry problem being resolved in real time
Ooh.
as this strikes and passes out the back of this thing, and it folds and keeps moving toward you. You can hear the air flitting around its feathers? Wings? It's hard to tell as this thing lunges forward and bends as a spear lances out of where its chest might be to attack Liza.
God, why?
And that is a 7 on the dice.
Well, Eliza is down.
Eliza goes limp in your arms, Des, as this stabs into her. And you can feel blood running down one of your arms.
It's just very inconsiderate of this thing to attack the only person who can't do anything about it. Does
What's going on, Des?
Liza's hurt again.
Shit.
Yeah, that was quick. Can I sort of set her down and still do something, or is setting her down going to be my whole deal?
I would say that moving to the ground and setting her down could be your movement. You can let her go without spending your movement.
It's down anyway.
You can also, we have established that Des can sometimes protect without her, like, Des can protect people without her hands, so it depends on what you're trying to do.
That's true. But I guess in this situation, okay, no, yeah, here's what's gonna happen. Des is gonna float down next to Chris, and her shield is gonna pop out and hover in front of all 3 of them, and I'm going to protect myself. to use goad.
All right.
Rain, that's a 10 on the dice.
Okay. And what is your current light?
2.
Okay. Okay. You see something that looks, it's a statue of some sort, or at least it's statuesque. But of what, it's hard to say. It doesn't look like it was made in human shape. It's vaguely humanoid, but it is moving toward you. It opens its mouth and music was once upon a time described as fluid math. And that is what you hear now. You hear a song that is so wrong, so off, that you reflexively recoil from it as this thing speaks to you in a language that you understand only on a magical, instinctual level from this part of you that you do not understand what it is, as it is going to try to sway you.
Yes, please.
And that is a 7. Good lord.
Hit me.
So you move 1 point toward darkness.
I wondered,
Sorry?
because this thing can choose which direction it sways people.
I believe it's the top of the round now.
So we have a statue thing and a sharp thing.
Chris should go first.
Where is the sharp thing?
The sharp thing is in the sky.
And the statue is...
The statue is on the ground.
Cool.
You can see other things moving, starting to emerge from doors, starting to emerge from windows around you, but you haven't got a good look at them yet.
Des, if these things are next to us, I can't fight them. That's Eliza's job. And she's... Yeah.
Yeah.
Chris stomps again and brings up another ball to swing at the sharp monster in the sky. Oh, that is... God, my dice are not... Maybe these dice need to go in timeout. That is a 6. That's a 6 on the dice plus 2 is 8.
Okay, well, it still hit.
I can use radius and rhythm in the same turn, I believe. Radius is going to have me at 2 stress, and then I'd like to stack rhythm onto it, which reads, it's not hard to get into the zone when you're fighting. You deal an additional point of stress to a target. This does not stack with itself if you also fought that target on your last turn. So that would be 3 total stress.
Yep. It takes that shot and seems to fractal out for a second as if it's spasming, and then pulls itself back together. It's not doing too hot.
Yeah, Chris squints and her eyes narrow like a bird's, and she takes a hard look at this thing and can see just how badly it's doing. Just for the sake of making it verbal, could I use that reify again?
Indeed. It has 1 stress left and 3 conviction.
I've almost got that one down. Let's hope it stays up.
More of these things start to skitter and crawl and grind toward you. And Something more like the one that you had seen the last time you were in here. Something humanoid, but with long bladed arms, emerges from a doorway and rushes towards you. And it's going to take a swing at Des.
Cool. Hit me with it.
Okay, that didn't matter. That's an 11 on the dice.
And remind me, if I have a successful protect, do I negate all damage?
I believe you do, yes.
Okay.
So this thing lunges and slashes, and you bring the shield up, and it's cutting at you, and it just can't get through that shield. It puts some nasty gashes into it, but it stands.
I think there's a moment where Chris kind of looks around and takes stock. And GM, how many, at an estimate, other monsters are coming in our direction here?
It's hard to say for sure. 4 or 5 total, to be clear, including the ones that are already on the field.
Des?
Yeah.
We need to get faith more than we need to fight.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I was ready to run from moment one. I'll grab
All right.
Eliza.
Yep.
Okay. We don't use this super often. How does the flee action work again?
Roll with a skill related to, running, escaping, evading, capture.
Okay. Any chance I can use endure or shield check for that?
I'll take endure,
Okay.
assuming you're just running in a straight line very far.
Yeah, the goal is I'm gonna pick up Eliza and take off down the road.
Yeah, we're heading toward that center still.
Okay, that is an 8 plus 1. That is a 9.
9. You escape, but something goes wrong. We'll get to that. Dez is the first one to run. Chris, you stand firm for just a moment to give Dez the moment to run. This is the moment when the thing from the sky drops on you and lashes out with a stabbing flurry of shapes. And that is an 8 to hit.
Okay.
Okie
So
dokie.
you take 3 stress.
Wow. Chris's face twists with that pain, and she looks into what she thinks might be the face of this thing, and she says, Hazel, I don't know if you can hear me through these things, but please help. And she turns and runs.
Roll flee.
With sprint. Oh, God. This is the other dice, and that's a 4 on the dice.
What's your sprint?
+1.
+1. You fail to escape. As this thing lunges out, pounces on you, and pins you in place. And it attacks again. And hits again with a 12. And you take 3 more points of stress.
Okay.
What are you doing?
She's going to try to run again.
Understood.
And I don't know what we're going to do with my dice here. They're not playing nice. That's an 8 total.
An 8. In a moment between these furious attacks, you are able to get your feet under you, you are able to run, and you are able to disappear. There are consequences for everyone involved, but I think those can wait until next time. Thank you, everyone, so much for listening. Thank you to my players, and I look forward to seeing you all next time. Have a good night. Thank you again for joining us on this adventure. With Conviction is a production of Silver Maiden Games. If you would like to play Conviction, check out the game at silvermaidengames.itch.io. Music for the intro and outro of this podcast is A Soul with Conviction by Doom Vega, who you can find on Bandcamp. Music within the episodes is by Rachel Rose Mitchell, who you can find on Bandcamp and Spotify. All rights to the music are retained by their original artist. Production and editing are done by myself and the With Conviction cast. Thank you all. This would not be what it is without you. You can find this podcast on Spotify and YouTube or silvermaidengames.wordpress.com. You can also find more about the game, podcast, and ways to contact us at silvermaidengames.wordpress.com.